banks should invest in the country to make sure that there is employment and their civic and social responsibilities are maximized. But the government is borrowing from these banks and paying them at huge interest rates. It is just not unsafe or too safe for the government to be doing this. Well, so what I'm saying is, we all understand the fact that the inflation rate is dropping, but it is not because of good economic management, but rather a stingy and a cruel tactics the government is deploying to ensure that it achieve just mere figures, which actually is not reflecting in the lives of the people, just as some government, or I should say the previous government, did when it was in power. It was actually not borrowing from the commercial banks. Expenditure was high, looking at the various sectors. But at the end of the day, because of the boost in productivity, it naturally generated a lot of income for Ghanaians. And when that happens, automatically inflation is going to come down. So I believe strongly that it is coming down, right? But due to certain cruel tactics by the government. That's how I'm done.
And also a space for public discussion. Community Watch, only on Focus FM. Community Watch.
Okay, so it's still on Community Watch on Focus 94.3. That was coming from Adade Koku Buafu. It's 29 minutes after 8. Amponsa Mensah is also with us here in the studios. Amponsa will tell us exactly his expectation of inflation by the end of the year 2010 and how that will imply on the economy. Amponsa.
Thank you very much. I know the government is not predicting, but now they are saying the single-digit inflation has been achieved for the month of June. The single-digit inflation has been achieved and is now at 9.52%, of which the NDC government want the people of Ghana to sing praise for the government for attaining such a feat. And I believe it's a good, and it's in order that a government can attain a single-digit inflation at this point in time in our economic life. But it's important for us to take note of this, that persistent inflation is about persistent increase in the prices of general goods
and
services, commodities in the country. Well, and when you take a survey, on average the prices of goods and services are not generally increasing, and it is clear. For that one, I commend the government for that. And one point is, the inflation must have a positive impact on the people of Ghana. The inflation has a bearing with the Bank of Ghana prime rate, and for that matter, the interest rate. So if the inflation is not having the impact, it's not corresponding with the interest rate.
Can you explain this impact?
The impact should be that when the inflation is dropping, the interest rates must also drop. When you go last year, when I monitor the UK prime rate, the interest rate was as low as 5%.
Okay.
But in the year 2007-2008, the interest rate for Ghana was between 23 and 28. But when you go to certain private banks, it's more than the 28%. So on the average, you can peg it between 23 and then 28, right? But at that time, the inflation was at 18.5%. So, but people were able to borrow money from the banks. So, though the inflation was having a double digit, but the interest rate was a bit low or manageable for the business people to go and borrow from the banks. And now we have inflation at a single digit rate at a 9.52. But the interest rate at the moment I'm told is close to 30%, 32%. You understand? So it's not having a bearing. The interest, the inflation is not having a bearing on the interest rate. And for this matter, the business people are not able to borrow much from the banks to boost their business. So this is why a lot of people in town are complaining that we don't have money in our pocket and we don't have a cedi in our pocket. But what I'm suggesting for the government is that, well, other panelists made mention of the fact that the government is siphoning the economy by not putting much money into the system. Right, I'm suggesting to the government that it's important for him to pump a bit of money into the system. The money in circulation at the moment is not enough. I suspect that it might be their way of controlling the money circulation in the economy. But I want to suggest to the government that as the way of controlling inflation can affect our economy by shrinking the economy. When you are saying I'm controlling inflation, you are drawing a lot of funds from the economy into the central bank using other mechanisms. When you do that, withdrawing a lot of funds, a lot of money from the economy, you are shrinking the economy. You are not creating room for economic growth, right? So this inflation rate at 9.5%, I believe the central bank has reviewed the prime rate, and for that matter, in the subsequent months, by the close of the year, we will have a interest rate for loans also dropping. So we are expecting by the close of this year that the interest rate will drop, and a lot of people will be able to borrow money from the banks to enhance their business, to create a room for economic growth. But when the government hide behind achieving single-digit inflation, 9.5%, and relax and sit on the fence, not doing anything, I don't think the people of Ghana will have the impact of achieving single-digit inflation. So I will end it by saying that it's important we've achieved single-digit inflation. The economy will be on track, and again, it's also important for the government to do something about cutting down the interest rate for bank loans and pushing money into the economy, a manageable money into the economy, a moderate money into the economy, so that the people will have a feel of achieving single-digit inflation. Money in our pocket can also increase, so that the people will have the impact of the inflation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Amponsa Mensa, for that. It's your Community Watch on Focus 943. It's 24 minutes actually to 9. You can text us 1406, type F, leave a space, and follow up with your message. What exactly are your take on the inflation target by the government now? It's 24 minutes again to 9. 1406, type F, leave a space, and follow up with your message. 1406, remember to type F first, leave a space before the message. Later on, you can join us via phone to tell us exactly what you think of the issues discussed so far. But we're still on the Bank of Ghana predicting inflation or end of year inflation rate of 9.2%. Let's get to George J. For any additional comments before we move on.
Well, I think some things are very blaring to the general public, and I think you don't need anybody to tell you that, in fact, this is what the economy is being driven towards. I think we are here, we are privy to what the former president, His Excellency Fire Lieutenant Rollins, said, that the economy actually, if this is the way we are going to manage this economy, I tell you, 2012, they have nothing like a campaign to come out and tell the public that they should vote based on this category, because things are going from bad to worse. And Seko Nkrumah, within the shortest possible time, has also come out to tell them that definitely was working with this man. He had believed and entrusted his care into this man, that he believed this man could carry the nation on his shoulders. But it seems that things are not working on well with him. I tell you, Atta, if you have this kind of inflation, 9.52%, we should see investment, foreign direct investments flow into the economy like something, right? When the NPP was leaving, we were around 100 and